Hello everyone, today our project about Cisco Packet Tracer and Cisco Packet Tracer project. In this project we use Narcos University PCs and servers, for example 5 PC and 2 servers. Um, in this picture we can see 5 PCs from PC 0 to PC 4 and 2 servers, PC server 0 and server 1. In our network topology, we have the following device. First is 5 PCs. This device represents an user workstation. They are used to simulate clients' operations such as accessing network services hosted on the servers. Second is 2 servers. Server 0, DNS server, and server 1, VTP server. In this picture, we can see 5 PCs and 2 servers correctly. Here we'll check if everything in our network is working properly. We will start by pinging between the PCs and servers to see if they can communicate. Then we create DNS and VTP users with passwords and names. This will help us make sure the network is set up correctly and that all devices can talk to each other without issues. If something doesn't work, we'll trouble. Router 0 basic iOS configuration. In this picture, we can see all our commands to create basic iOS configuration. For example, line console 0 goes to console connection settings, physical access to the router. Password narcos sets the password narcos for access via the console. Line VTI04 goes to the virtual terminal settings, remote access via telnet or SSH. Brief a brief description of how these commands work. These commands perform basic configuration of the router. First, set the device name and install a warning banner. Second is protect access with password for console, VTI, and all modes. Third is encrypt all passwords, and fourth is configure IP addresses on the two router interface and enable them. These steps allow the router to begin communicating with other devices on the network and provide basic security. In these pictures, we can see basic iOS configurations for switch 0, for switch 1, and in the end, I checked how they works. After the basic IP configurations, we check if the passwords work. For all routers and switches, router 1, switch 0, switch 1, I use the password narcos so as not to forget in the future. If the password does not work, we cannot enter the device and enable mode. IP addressing and subnetting. In this picture, we can see all our IPv4 address and IPv6 address and default gateways for them. And we can see subnet mask, all subnet masks for all our devices. We'll write down all these addresses and we'll manually write to the IP configuration. For example, in these pictures. In PC0, I write this IPv4 address and subnet mask in this. Network security configurations, screenshots of SSH password settings and ASLs. First, transport input SSH, restrict remote access to only SSH, disabling telnet for security purpose. Second is access timeout 1 and 2. Set the inactivity timeout to 1 minute on VTI lines to automatically log out ill users. Third is IP domain name, narhost local. Sets the domain name for the router required for generating RSA keys for SSH. Fourth is crypto key generated RSA keys for SSH. When prompted, 1024 specifies the key size, 1024 bits. Larger keys are more secure. Fifth is IP SSH version 2. Enables SSH version 2, which is more secure than version 1. And this write memory, show IP SSH, and show running config I section line VTI. What these commands do? They secure access to the router by requiring strong passwords for both physical console and remote VTI access. SSH is configured and preferred over Telnet because it encrypts communicating, making it secure for remote management. Passwords are encrypted in the router's configuration file for added security. And RSA keys are generated to support SSH, and an inactivity timer is set to automatically lock out idle users. Application service configuration. In this step, we configure the servers to provide essential network services, for example, DNS server and FTP server. For example, in these pictures, we can see server 0, DNS server. We wrote the name, email, address, and this address. And for all this for all these details, for example, email, FTP, web, I used only a record type. And this FTP server in server in server 1. Our username, for example, is admin, and password is admin123. And second is quest, and password is quest123. DNS server and DNS server, HTTP and email. And in the end, we ping between PCs inside switch 1 or switch 0. For example, in this picture, I ping it inside switch 0 between PCs. For example, in PC1, we write other PCs ping, and it works because you can see 0% loss. In this picture, ping servers 0 and server 1. In this picture again, we can see 0% loss, and it works. Let's check pinging in Cisco Packet Tracer. For example, we open PC4 and command prompt. Let's check the PC server 0's IP configuration. Copy and pin. Yes, it works. 0% loss and ping statistics for 40.242.56.66. And let's check in server. For example, we copy our server 0's IP address, and let's check between switch 1 in server 1. Command prompt ping. Yes, it works again, and let's check our ping in simulation mode. For example, PC4, we write our server 0's IP. Let's check. Yes, it works. We can see in this project. Okay. Um, our project is end. Thank you for your attention.